So we'll go on the line right now. I have with me lawyer Ebenezer. Lawyer Ebenezer, I've told you, PJ, that's his full name, and he's on the line to interpret what exactly the press statement from the state prosecution is. Lawyer, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Frank.
Yes, lawyer. Pacho bibia boko de.
Nyamia dumboko na what to say.
Pacho nyankopa dum bibia boko. Lawyer, when we go straight to the United States Attorney's Office, that is the Southern District of New York. Southern District now, to the benefit of those who are watching it, the Southern District of New York has got to do with Manhattan, it's got to do with the Bronx, so all those areas that are within that region falls under the Southern District, and that is where the statement is coming from. Lawyer, there have been a lot of confusion reading the press statement, especially the allegations that have been made and also the possible maximum sentence to each allegation. Before we go to you giving us the better understanding of it, when you read the press release from the state attorney, what was your first impression?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think when it comes to legal matters, it can be confusing and very scary. But when you understand the terminology of what is going on, see, it's because this individual is a little bit famous or popular. Okay. That is why I feel things have been hyping. But this kind of allegations goes on almost every day. I don't know whether you recall, in 2020, there was a Ghanaian lady, Deborah Mensah, that also had, and about 8 people that were also indicted, and they pled guilty to some of the charges, and some were sentenced 50 months, 72 months. So this is very common as long as we have internet and other stuff. So what this simply means is there was what we call a seal indictment, and the seal indictment is when the prosecutor, do the investigation. When there is an investigation, if there is a reason for them to believe a crime is being committed, the federal law allows that you set up a panel, a jury, a grand jury. Okay. The grand jury is one-sided form of proceedings. The prosecutor with the investigators, what they've gathered, meet with the grand jury, which is usually 9 people, 9 men and women, laymen and women, and they tell them the story. Ghana, or they say, you're going to Oba was say, nipa say, or ye A, B, C, D, and E. Now, say, and so them rang it to us, say, Nipani, Uti, say, Nipani, A, B, C, D, and E. Then you have to vote what we call true bail or no bail. Okay. And the prosecutor will always bring up those charges and investigation, what they have entailed. Then the grand jury, when we say it's a seal indictment, which means it's secret, sometimes you don't even know you are being investigated. Okay. They don't tell anybody. Just the FBI and a few people will be working on it. So this is what exactly happened to this individual. They were investigating him many years ago.
Wow. So
they come to a place where they become confident that they have all that they need to prove the charges under Title 18 of USC C-1343. That was what they were charged under. The other subs, they charged them under. So they paneled a grand jury, and the grand jury came out with true bail. That is the seal indictment. And for them to unseal the indictment, once they get the true bail, they will ask a judge to unseal the indictment. So now no longer a secret. It becomes public. And the individual, if it is in the jurisdiction, which is if the individual is in the United States, they will go and arrest him based on the indictment. It is just a charge. Okay? It is just allegation. It's a charge. The person is not guilty until the government proves its case beyond reasonable doubt. So if the person is outside United States but committed the crime in United States, then if United States have a treaty with the state or the country which the person resides, they will begin extradition proceedings. That is why this individual, because United States have a treaty with United Kingdom, has it with Ghana and so many countries, because she was in United Kingdom, they began extradition proceedings and they extradited her to United States. When the individual gets here, the next step is they arraign the individual. That is where they ask you whether you are guilty or not guilty. And in this case, I believe the individual has pled not guilty. And they will set a bond for you. So with setting the bond, there's a lot of things that go into whether to release you or not to release you. But it's my understanding that with this individual case, she was released on the bond of 500,000. That does not mean you have to pay 500,000. According to the section for bond and bail and bond, you can pay a 10% of whatever bond bail is set, and you can be released on a monitor.
Lawyer, are you saying that the 500,000 that which is the bond of that is the bail, she's not bounded to pay everything before she's released?
So what happens is we have bails and bondsmen.
Okay.
If she has the 500,000, it could be in the form of money, it can be in the form of assets.
Okay.
She can do that.
Okay.
But usually the system is saying that we have people like middlemen. So we have bail and bondsmen that always require 10% of whatever is set.
Okay.
And because they ask her 500,000, she can get a bail or bondsman who will take 50,000 and put up the bond for her. Okay. Which means this middle company or middlemen are telling the court that we will make sure she will appear in court.
Okay. Okay.
And they will also request electronic monitor. So this individual, if she is out of jail, which means they will also put electronic monitor that will limit her mobility in the United States.
Okay. Okay. I think it gives a better an understanding that when it comes to the 500,000 bail that is said to have been put on her before the bail was granted. Now let's take a look at something from 2013, as the statement said, up to 2019. She is alleged to have been involved with a criminal enterprise by name The Enterprise, based in the West Africa, that committed a series of fraud against individuals and businesses in the United States, including romance scams. This revelation, does this suggest to say, you being a prosecutor, does this suggest to say that the investigative body is one way or the other aware of possible people that form this particular the said enterprise? Is it possible?
Absolutely, it is possible, and they know. See, this is what people do not know, especially people that get involved in this kind of conspiracy and this kind of fraudulent activities. See, you cannot defraud United States citizens and go scot-free. The fact that they have not come to your time doesn't mean nobody is investigating you. Like I told you, there was an individual group of this same enterprise. 8 of them were indicted and they were convicted in 2020. They investigated them from 2014 to 2018. You realize that they were investigating this individual from 2013 to 2019. So what happened in these cases is, it's one of those cases. It's very difficult to go against. You have to have a very competent and a very experienced federal criminal defense attorney to be able to help you navigate.
Okay.
It is not. I do not, as a prosecutor, I will tell you this might not go to trial because they have enough. They will have enough evidence against them. First of all, let me just talk a little bit about the law, then I'll be able to answer you clearly.
Okay.
So the first charge is under Section 1343, which is what United States Code. Okay, there are 4 elements that the prosecutor has to prove: that the defendant voluntarily and intentionally devised or participated in a scheme to defraud another out of money; that the defendant did so with the intent to defraud; that it was reasonable, foreseeable that the interstate wire communication will occur; Those things, that is why it takes so long. So they have investigated and they tracked them. And I will tell you, sometimes it could be the person thinks he's communicating with just an individual or Joe Smoke, but you end up communicating with an FBI agent. So they might have, if the jury did voted through bail, and if they are ready and they've unsealed the indictment, it means they do have enough evidence to get this. And listen to this. The reason they have this individual who is popular and famous, I can tell you how it's going to end. They're going to give all the evidence that they have on her to her lawyer. Okay. Her lawyer is going to review what we call discovery. The lawyer is going to review it. Then they develop a strategy. Okay. The lawyer will tell her to admit some, and then they will work with the Attorney General's office. Okay? So what usually happens is they try to mitigate the sentences. I know the sentences of the 5 counts all accumulate to maximum of 95 years. Yes. I'm yet to find out somebody serving 95 years in this kind of international wire fraud and mail fraud.
Okay.
Usually, they plead guilty and they use them as a leverage. So they're going to use this individual as a leverage to get all those involved. If she starts talking and cooperating with the federal government, then they might reduce the sentencing and they can drop some of the charges. And you plead to one charge, and definitely they will not ask for 20 years, but it's usually ask for 8 to 10 years. Okay? Sometimes with probability of parole, and after that they give you some what we call probationary time. Okay. So if she decides to cooperate with the federal government, with the Justice Department, then she might probably name names of who are the heads, the big guns in this enterprise scheme. So sometimes they can use her as their main witness to go after the big fish. And if she happens to be the big fish, she can help them to unravel all this that this enterprise does. So that is what it is. So everything that is going on, it can go to trial. If her attorney wants to challenge it, of course, it's her right to go to trial and defend herself before a jury of her own peer. But usually, some of these things, the evidence is so overwhelming that you begin to negotiate, begin to talk what we call in criminal law plea bargaining with the prosecutor and see how best to go forward. And she can help the Justice Department to get into whosoever were involved in this. So this enterprise, anytime one of them is indicted, it does a blow to their organization, their illegal organization.
Lawyer, whilst you were talking, you did indicate that this case might not go for trial. We are not trying to get into the case in detail, but we are trying to look at, make references to some of the things that have happened in the past and trying to relate it to the current issue that we have on board. What did you mean by saying this case might not go to trial?
By saying might not go to trial, I have looked at the previous record. Like I said, a lot of people are indicted and extradited from West Africa and Africa. It goes on all the time. Like this one just have this big light because she is a popular figure. Okay?
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is it might not go to trials because the government council or the United States Attorney General office in Southern District of New York, they have evidence. The FBI has given them the evidence they have on this individual. They will, by law, they will have to provide everything they're going to use against her to her attorney.
Okay.
And if attorney reviews the documents and find out that they are able to meet their burden beyond reasonable doubt, sometimes the next strategy is the reason we go to trial is because we don't agree with the charges. But if there is no reasonable doubt. If the government attorney can prove beyond reasonable doubt, and you see the evidence and they are clear. Sometimes they have videotapes, sometimes they have communications, audio, sometimes they have wire transfer with your signature on it, and they can trace to your hardware and software. Those become so clear to your attorney, then your attorney begin to talk to the government counsel. Okay, I can help you get A, B, C, D, and E if you help me do this. So at the end of the day, you plead guilty to some of the charges, or sometimes all of the charges,
based
and
on
they
the
give
evidence.
you sentence. So which means it does not go to trial.
Okay.
Unless he says, I didn't do it, I am innocent, I'm going to fight this, then we panel a jury, then we have a full-blown trial. But I will tell you, 8 out of 10 wire fraud kind of cases always end up negotiation, plea bargaining. Okay. And they're going to probably, if she'll be able to use them, be able to help them get other people that are involved. So this can go on for pretty a long time.
Wow.
But I doubt, and I can confidently tell you that we will not have a full setup jury going on a trial.
Is it the case that normally when it goes to a full jury trial, that is where they accumulated, based on the allegations that have been made and found guilty, the person is then looked at a possible 95-year sentence?
See, United States, yes, even though that is what the law says, 95. Okay. But the United States federal government have a sentencing guidelines before something sentence. And this condition is not possible that they're going to throw all the book at her to serve 95 years. She's going to do some jail time.
Okay.
Depending on her attorney, she's going to do some jail time. But I doubt, as a prosecutor and as an attorney in the United States, where the laws really work and work perfectly, I doubt they're going to throw 95 years at her. She will do some jail time, but it will not go beyond the 20. It depends on how she cooperates. If she cooperates well, then they can talk about reduced sentence and also restitution. If you realize in her charges there have been a forfeiture of some of her assets and other stuff have been frozen. So there's a lot of things, there are a lot of mitigating circumstances that can be used to reduce her sentence. Even if she decided, I'm going to challenge every allegation and every count, and they go to trial, it's not necessarily meaning that she's going to go through the 95 years. It's not necessary. At the end of the day, it's the judge that make that decision. The prosecutor can recommend, okay, 6 counts. It all accumulates a maximum of 95 years. Your Honor, give her 95 years. At the end of the day, the judge is going to look at other mitigating circumstances.
Okay.
And the judge will look at her background, her country of origin, and everything, and put that into consideration, that what caused this individual to commit this act. And all of them comes into play, and the judge can reduce the sentences. But what I'm trying to communicate to you right now is it is something that those who are involved need to be careful. The fact that your name is not up today doesn't mean it can be up tomorrow.
And as long as you've committed a crime and you are found within the enterprise, be sure that you will surely be found.
Ensure that you can be called, you can be indicted just as she has been indicted. And guess what? Ghana can help you, because Ghana has signed a treaty with the United States. If they find out that you are part of this enterprise and you have taken vulnerable men and women's money, they're going to bring you. And Ghana government can do anything. They will have to give you up because they signed a treaty.
As a prosecutor, as a lawyer, who practices at the United States Supreme Court, with all these insight and education, what has actually triggered this high rise when it comes to these schemes in recent times, especially from the year 2000 up to this year. Just in February, we had about 7 Ghanaians who were also, sentenced to various degrees of all these crimes in the state of Ohio, and that release was also made according to the attorney's state, and it was released here in Columbus. So, what has prompted this rise from that period, 2000 up to about 24-year period? What has prompted this high rise of these schemes?
I think it's because of the electronic and the internet. It's because of the internet and the whole thing about internet and the electronic and all those stuff. It becomes very easy for people who are very good with these electronics devices to play games and use those devices to defraud others. It is easy for people to do that. And that is the rise of it all is because of the internet age, social media age. Some people have decided, I'm not going to work. I can sit in my house, sit in my whole comfort of my home and make money. And what they forget is that while they're trying to make this money out of fraudulent means, other people also set up to, guess what, investigate them.
Lawyer Ebenezer Appiah, Deputy Prosecutor in Mahoning County in the United States. He's also a lawyer. He has a background in immigration law as well. And he has a license to operate, to be a lawyer in the Supreme Court of the United States. He's dealt with so many cases, both as a prosecutor, as an attorney, and he has educated us on what exactly the issue is and possibilities. He's not judging. He's not going ahead of the prosecution. He's not going ahead of the case. He's just giving us the better understanding of possibilities and how we can all understand what it is. All the speculations that Hajia4 Reall will go all these years, 75 years, 90 years. This is the education that we all have to understand, and also understand that the rule of law in the United States speaks, and it speaks for all of us. Lawyer, I'd like to say thank you, unless you have something else to add up, and then we end this conversation.
Oh, the only thing I will add to it is that whilst I was listening to one of the commentaries on this whole issue, which I know is all over the place, I overheard one of the politicians lay blame on the government of Ghana and the former president of Ghana that is because of their bad administration that has caused this individual. Listen, I just want to say this. You can blame not everybody in Ghana who doesn't have a job just decide that I'm going to defraud other people. Okay. We should not allow entertain that as a nation. The fact that our system is not up to par does not mean that we should encourage other people to go and defraud other people in other countries. So I would just like to encourage young men and young women that there's always alternative. Where there is a will, there is a way. There are always alternatives. Desist from this kind of activities because it will eventually catch up on you. You cannot defraud the United States and go scot-free. They will come after you and they will get you. The fact that they are not doing anything right now doesn't mean you are smarter than them. When they want you, they will get you how they want to get you. So I want to encourage young men and young women in Ghana to desist from this kind of activities because eventually it will catch up with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lawyer Ebenezer Appiah. He's an assistant prosecutor at Mahoning County and also an attorney. He has an immigration background. Immigration law has helped a lot of immigrants in the United States to be able to have peace of mind and living in the United States. He also has the license to operate in the Supreme Court of the United States. Lawyer Ebenezer Appiah, thank you very much for your time, and we are very grateful.
Thank you so much, Mr. Journalist.
All right, sir. So the up and down, the misunderstanding concerning Hajia4 Reall issues. We've spoken to somebody who is in depth, somebody who understands what the laws are in the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go anywhere and then you hear people, politicians trying to politicize this particular issue, know how to address the issue and then have a better understanding of what the issues are. This has been Hello Frank. My name is Frank Intiamo Williams. I'm going to see you same time on the next topic as we zoom into the next issue for today's discussion. What just passed by is the issue that has got to do with Hajia4 Reall. Mona is now in the United States facing, a list of allegations that are coming from the FBI. The FBI also extend the appreciation to the United States Marshal Service, the National Extradition Unit, the United States Customs and Border Protection, and the FBI Legal Attaché in London as well. So all these departments came together to ensure that Hajia4 Reall was brought to the United States to face all these allegations. We'll follow the story. Whatever it is, we'll definitely go back to lawyer if we have any misunderstanding as the case proceeds. We'll be right back.